So we had this statement coming from the military spokesperson of Ansarullah, Yahya Sari', declaring that a comprehensive blockade on Israeli airports and airlines must comply. He's sending this warning to all of the airlines, by the way, not to Israel. He's saying we already established, now we're imposing a blockade on the Israeli airspace, and everyone else must comply now because we are going to attack them even more. And in their report, they said the Yemeni armed forces announced the launch of a comprehensive aid blockade on the Israeli enemy by repeatedly targeting airports, most notably Ben Gurion. They confirmed in the statement that it was in response to Israeli escalation with the decision to expand the aggressive operations against Gaza. They announced that they will work to impose a comprehensive air blockade on the Israeli enemy by repeatedly targeting airports, most notably Lod Airport, which is called Ben Gurion in Israel. The armed forces called on all international airlines to take consideration the contents of this statement from the moment it was announced and published, and to cancel all flights to the airports of the criminal enemy in order to preserve the safety of the aircraft and customers. The armed forces affirmed that dear, free, and independent Yemen will not accept the continuation of the state of violation that the enemy is trying to impose by targeting Arab countries such as Lebanon and Syria. And it affirms that this nation will not fear confrontation and will refuse submission and subservience. Now, in Yemen, it wasn't the only statement that came from the officials. No, we had another statement coming from one of the leading figures in Ansarullah, who said that this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning, and we are expecting more escalations against the state of Israel. One of them said that it's not in the interest of Israel, the United States, and the UK to escalate because they will be facing consequences and we have capacity to act against them. But they're saying that, no, this is the beginning. This is the beginning. And because you're expanding the operation in Gaza, we are expanding the operation from our end. So we're clearly not talking anymore about a one-off attack. Israel confirmed that it actually is starting a larger campaign in Gaza, calling tens of thousands of reservists. We will talk about that in a second, and the latest problems and the latest dangerous statement that came from the IDF chief of staff. But Israel, of course, did not remain quiet after these attacks were carried out by Ansarullah against the Ben Gurion airport. So what happened exactly? Now, Benjamin Netanyahu had a statement. There were multiple statements released. One of them by Benjamin Netanyahu saying that the response will reach Iran. There were a couple of networks that published this. I'll choose one of them for you. One of them was the Israeli newspaper Ma'ariv, saying that on Sunday night, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened a discussion on the subject. After the security discussion that lasted about 2 hours, it was decided to respond to the missile launch carried out today by the Houthis. We are going into action. It should be noted that decision does not require cabinet approval, by the way, so expect something quick. Why? Because they don't need to gather the cabinet. They can just, that's it, conduct an attack against Yemen or Iran without the approval of anyone. So Benjamin Netanyahu is now finding a golden opportunity for him to expand the war. You might argue, at the expense of what? Is he capable? Can they even handle Iranian missiles? None of that is important. What's important is him. And to him, this might be the way out. This might be the big opportunity for him to escalate, to drag Israel and the United States into a greater war and continue in his position. What did he say exactly, Netanyahu, when he was talking about these attacks? He actually said that on X, saying that it's the responsibility of Iran. President Trump is absolutely right, taking a screenshot of an old statement of Trump. Houthi attacks come from Iran. Israel will respond to the Houthi attack on our main airport at a time and place of our choosing against their Iranian terror masters. He didn't even state Yemen. Against their Iranian masters, he's saying, Netanyahu. That means he is only looking at Iran. He's not even mentioning Yemen. Now, why is he doing that? He's doing that because, again, that's his golden opportunity. That's the opportunity of Benjamin Netanyahu to start an all-out war and drag the United States into this war. Now, is the United States going to follow suit if he goes and attacks? That's not guaranteed. The United States hasn't actively participated or announced participation in any previous attack of Israel against Iran. However, Benjamin Netanyahu would want to try his luck. He would want to try his luck and see if potentially the United States can come and join any Israeli attack. But there's something very interesting here. There's a development that happened, especially from Iran today, that we haven't seen. Now, there were many talks previously about the United States attacking Iran. The United States and Israel, both of them have been threatening Iran for a very long time. As a matter of fact, both of them claimed that Iran was a week away from a nuclear bomb back from 3 decades ago. Iran was on the brink of having a nuclear bomb. The United States was threatening and was using Israel as a barking dog. Every prime minister who they wanted to use, they told them bark at Iran, bark at them. And the Israeli leaders would go woof, 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 woof for a few months or years up until the United States maybe has a de-escalation with Iran, whether it's after the war in Iraq or whatever other arrangements and talks they had with Iran. But the Americans knew very well that Iran has everyone they're holding them in West Asia and in the Gulf. How? All of the American bases are under Iran's thumb. Click of a button, all of them will be wiped off. The Arab states hosting the United States bases in the area, they know that. That's why they constantly repeat, we have nothing to do with it. We don't want to do anything with Iran. Please don't involve us in anything. And also they told the Americans many times, we're not going to support any attack that you may conduct against Iran. And the return was, the exchange, Iran, so long as they're not attacked by these bases of the United States in Saudi Arabia, for example, or Qatar, or the UAE, or any other place next to Iran, fine, no problem, or Iraq. And the United States is saying, I'm not going to participate, I'm talking to you at the end of the day. They'll support Israel with everything, but they won't physically go and press the button. Although, Lord knows, how can you know who's flying the fighter jet of Israel? And how can even Benjamin Netanyahu consider that when he's struggling with people going to fly to Gaza, by the way? They're struggling with the Air Force in Gaza and he wants people to fly to Iran or to Yemen. Delusional, the man is. But now Iran is changing the whole game. What are they saying? Iran is saying, all of our neighbors, you're our brothers. You're our brothers. But if you have a United States base and we are attacked, not stating by who, most likely Israel or the United States, we will be attacking these bases in your country. This is something new. This is something that we haven't seen before from Iran. Yes, they threatened them before if they carried out actions against them from those bases. But now they're taking it up a notch. If we have any attack against us, Israel, America, anyone, all of the American bases in our neighbors' regions, although they're our brothers, they're going to be attacked. They're saying, we're not going to target you as a country, you're our brothers and sisters, but you have an American base, hostile base, we're going to explode that base. How did this statement come, and who said this statement? The person who said this statement is a very important figure in Iran. It's the Iranian defense minister. He made this statement, and Mehr news agency reported it in Iran. Speaking to Iranian national TV presenter in an interview aired on Sunday evening, which also showed the new domestically made Iranian missile Qasim Basir, the defense minister warned the Americans that if we get attacked or if war is imposed on us, we will respond with might. We will attack their interests and their bases, and we will not be reluctant. We will not see any limits in this regard. General Nasir Zada underscored, we are not enemies of our neighboring countries, and they are our brothers, but American bases on their soil will be our targets.